Hey everyone, Mike Mulligan here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am a certified orientation and mobility specialist, and in today's video I will be demonstrating how to do the touch and slide cane technique when using 2-point touch. So the touch and slide technique is really beneficial when trying to detect subtle textural changes in a person's walking path or even subtle drop-offs. For example, a big one is finding where the curb meets the street at a curb cut. So that's a good example, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. So the touch and slide cane technique is primarily used when doing 2-point touch. So if you're a constant contact user, you probably won't use this technique very often, but if you use 2-point touch, this is a really helpful technique for locating those textural changes or subtle drop-offs. So now I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how to do touch and slide, and then I'll give you a real life example of how touch and slide can be a really helpful cane technique in certain circumstances. So for my demonstration here, I'm just using a big asphalt driveway in my backyard, but then I'll give you a real life example of touch and slide and how useful it can be. So I'm going to demonstrate here by first starting out in 2-point touch. So I have my cane out in front of me, I'm holding an index finger grip. And if you need a review of 2-point touch, please speak with your orientation mobility specialist, or you can check out my other video for a review of that. But when you're using 2-point touch and you feel like you're approaching something you want to explore more, say you're coming up to a corner and you want to find that curb cut where the texture changes, that's when you can initiate doing touch and slide. So touch and slide is pretty simple. Normally when you're using 2-point touch, you're just tapping left and right, back and forth. But with touch and slide, every time you're tapping, you're actually letting the cane slide forward on the ground. I like to say 4 or 5 inches. So right now I am taking a step forward with my left foot, my cane is going right, and when it taps the floor at 1 o'clock, instead of just a quick tap and then head back to the other side, I'm letting it go forward about 4 or 5 inches. So I'll demonstrate that again. I'm stepping forward with my left foot, cane tip hits the right, slides forward. And that's how you are able to detect some of those textural changes that you normally wouldn't if your cane is just tapping left and right and not sliding on the ground. So one thing to note, when you're doing this touch and slide technique, you're going to want to slow down a little bit because you want to remain in step. You don't want to get out of step, and because the cane tip is sliding on the ground a little bit more than it normally is with 2-point touch, it's going to require you to slow down a little bit to remain in step. So let me demonstrate here. So I am stepping forward with my left, cane tip hit to my right at 1 o'clock, slid forward, stepping forward with my right foot, cane hit to the left at 11 o'clock, slid forward 4 or 5 inches. And one thing to note is you want the pushing forward to be from your momentum, not from your arm shoving the cane forward, because that's going to get really tiring really quick. So just use your momentum of your body to help propel the cane tip forward. All right, so I'm here at a street corner. This is kind of a good example. There's a lot going on here. It's kind of a beat up street corner. It blends pretty much into the street. There's a little bit of a drop off, a subtle drop off at a curb, but it can be really hard to detect when you come to this corner. So to do this, when I know I'm getting close, and I can do that by listening to the cars like this one that's coming, and I'm going to switch from just doing regular 2-point touch to touch and slide. So right now my cane is out in front of me. I'm doing 2-point touch, so now I'm going to start doing touch and slide. So every time I tap to one side, going about 4 or 5 inches to each side. So I'm tapping, sliding, feeling some dirt underneath me. I still feel the cement and kind of the texture. So right now I'm doing that, tapping back and forth, doing touch and slide, looking for the edge to know I'm officially at the corner. So I felt a little drop off here. There's some leaves and stuff, so it's a little challenging. But I can feel the texture change now between the pavement, the cement, and the asphalt. So I'm pretty confident I'm at the corner.